Yes, we'll hear all. Now, it's reckoned that every 2.5 minutes a baby is born with a gap in their lip or roof of their mouth. It's known as a cleft. In the UK, they're operated on almost immediately, but that's not the case elsewhere.
A plastic surgeon from Cambridge has been to India to help with the treatment there, and today a real boost. This year, all of the money from the Blue Peter appeal will be used to help make children smile.
So can you say, Bob has a baby boy?
Bob has a baby boy.
8-year-old Joshua Newbold from Bedford was born with a cleft lip. Like all children in the UK, it was repaired when he was a baby. Now he just gets regular checkups with surgeon Per Hall at Addenbrooke's.
The difference is absolutely phenomenal. It really does help him an awful lot. And as he gets older, his self-esteem, because of these operations, which help him with speech as well as self-confidence.
5,000 miles away in India, it's very different. The children here are often outcasts and prevented from going to school. Operation Smile provides free surgery to the poorest families. Per joined the charity and Blue Peter presenter Helen Skelton in Guwahati. He hopes to operate on as many children here as possible. 5-year-old Pranjal and his father travelled all night to be here.
He's got a problem that's lip and gum. Palate is probably OK, but there's a little tiny question mark on the palate.
So that's quite good, because
yeah, it's good.
It's a more simple operation.
Simple operation.
He's one of the lucky ones and will get treatment.
We have crammed the studio with loads of people all getting busy. Hello, you lot. All getting busy for our new appeal. Everyone is...
Blue Peter has just announced they'll be working with the charity for this year's appeal, called Send a Smile. They want school children to make hospital gowns from their old T-shirts, saving them £60,000. St Felix School in Suffolk is already taking part.
I've got a picture of someone smiling. This was once my brother's T-shirt, so I'm just having fun with the chance I can have to ruin it.
Helping them out is sixth former Lucy Nunn, who was herself born with a cleft lip.
It's about learning what cleft lip does to your life, and they are slowly learning, and the gowns are just a fun way of getting it into other people's minds.
Back in India, Pranjal is recovering from his operation. His reaction speaks 1,000 words. Louise Holmes, BBC Look East.
Now, Formula One, and the new world champion Jenson was back at work today after winning the title in Brazil on Sunday.
He's back to Brawn GP in Northamptonshire today to say thank you to the backroom boys who made it possible. Now, one man who had a great view on Sunday was Jake Humphrey, the BBC man in the pit lane. He's here now.
Hi.
Before we talk to you, I want to just play you a little clip from Sunday.
OK. Jenson Button, Formula One world champion. It seems a bit mad. How does it feel?
That sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. I mean, the last few races, as you probably know, have been a bit stressful for me, especially qualifying. But I personally think that drive was worth being world champion. It was, I can't even speak, deserving of being world champion. So I am the world champion, baby.
So why the kiss?
I have had better kisses in my time. I tell you, that one was sort of quite sweaty and smells of champagne.
He seems like a really nice, down-to-earth guy. Yes. I mean, has it been like that throughout the season with him?
It has. I think the thing about Jenson Button is he is a normal bloke, and in Formula One, particularly Formula One drivers, they're very keen to sort of be perfect and be the greatest sportsman ever, and they hate to admit to a weakness. And even Jenson throughout the season was saying, no, I'm going to be fine, I'll still wrap up the title, I'll be OK. But when you interview someone every other week, you can tell when they're not 100%, and I did notice a dip, and he started sort of speaking in cliches, and he was being sort of holding back a bit. And so I think to see him there, since 8 years old he's wanted to win the world title, to see that dream come true after what has been, and he admitted it, it's been a tough season, it's been difficult for him. And I think to see a normal guy achieve his lifelong ambition and to be so excited he's willing to kiss another man on live television, I think it's fantastic and really good.
I mean, in the pit lane, presumably you get just as involved in it as the rest of the teams.
Yes.
On the...
I mean, that was a tricky broadcast, because this is my first season in Formula One now that it's back on the BBC. And so I've never... Where it should be, with the chain theme tune and no adverts. And I've never before been so close to someone when they've done something as amazing as be crowned Formula One world champion. You know, I've watched World Cup finals, but I've never been in the stadium and spoken to the player that scored the winning goal. Yet I was as close to Jenson as I am to you now.
Closer than this.
Probably, well, we could get closer. We'll save that for after the programme. But to be that close, and, you know, his eyes were wild, there was so much adrenaline pumping around his body, to be that close to someone that's achieved something so amazing is really special. But you do have to remember, you're live on the BBC, and there are people that want decent questions and a proper journalistic interview, so you do have to remember that you're doing a job, you know.
It was such a melee there, wasn't there? I mean, it must have been quite hard.
It was strange, because the producer said to me, at some point we're going to get Jenson, and the teams hate talking about their plan for when they win the world title because they think it's going to jinx them in some way. So he came into the garage, and I said to the producer, right, Jenson's here. And he said, right, we'll interview him in a moment. And in between that time, the whole place just got filled with cameras, and it was wild.
Well,
absolutely
you did very
wild.
well.
Thank
Lovely
you very
to see
much.
you.
Nice to see
you with us.
Thanks
here,
a lot.
That's all you're getting as well.
Now, it's a great time of the year for a weekend walk, isn't it, with autumn providing its usual riot of colour and hedgerow fruits. But how good are you at identifying what you see?
Roger Key is a naturalist, often described as the David Bellamy of the East. Anna Todd has been to see him at Castor Hanglands National Nature Reserve near Peterborough.
Season. Everybody sort of tends to think that everything's dying in autumn, but there's so much fruitfulness. You know, everything is sort of at its best.
So what are we heading towards?
Well, it's a spindle bush. They called it spindle because it's got really, really hard wood, and it was used, you know, in the days of using materials from the countryside as spindles. And it's the only wild British bush that's got pink berries, but they're not just pink. If you look inside, it's more than that, because if you open it up, it's orange inside. And if you open up the orange bit, you end up with it being pink, then orange, then black.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It is, yes, absolutely.
So what's next? Have you got any?
Well, we've got a really nice sort of rose briar here that's covered in hips. These are the things that the old rose hip syrup that we used to have as kids come from. And if you break them open, you've got all the rose seeds, but amongst those seeds there are these silver hairs which itch like stink. Have yourself. It's a nice taste,
really
isn't it?
Nice, yeah.
But it's a bit chewy.
Yeah.
You've got to be really careful.
If you were stuck in the woods and fancied a snack, it's quite nice.
Ever since I was a little boy, I have always eaten my way around the countryside. Nearly all our food comes off the supermarket shelves and it's packed in plastic and things like that. And yet things grow on bushes, grow on trees, and we never see that. What I'll do is give the shrubbery a short, sharp knock, and anything that's on there, I'll come tumbling down. Oh, say, I've got what's called a green shield bug. And you get a majority of them in late summer and autumn, so we're at absolutely the right time to find it. Go for really nice long walks and think about making sloe gin or elderberry wine or crabapple jelly or something like that, and actually get to know the countryside, you know, like everybody did 50 years ago.
Great advice. And if you want to find out more about what to look for this autumn, go to the website at bbc.co.uk/Autumn Watch, or tune in to see Autumn Watch live with Chris Packham and Kate Humble at 9 o'clock on BBC Two on Friday.
Not everybody liked rose hip syrup, but I know a girl who did.
I loved it. I haven't had it for years, though. Well, these pictures really sum up what the day has been like for many of us. Some heavy and prolonged rainfall. The first, in fact, for many months in many parts of the region. But this wasn't the case everywhere. Yes, we had cloudy skies in some parts, but some places did actually stay largely dry. If I show you the radar sequence through the course of the afternoon, you can see that in the extreme west and southwest, here it stayed largely, if not completely dry, and we did even have a little bit of brightness and sunshine. But elsewhere, especially in the east, that heavy